You've always been jealous of me, haven't you? That's why you seduced Steven. Lisa screamed, her face contorted with rage as she stood in my living room. Her accusation hit me like a physical blow. What are you talking about? I never did anything with Steven. I protested, completely blindsided by this outburst from my own sister. That confrontation happened 3 months ago, and my life hasn't been the same since. I'm Matthew, 28 years old, and until recently, I thought I had a pretty good relationship with my sister Lisa, who's 2 years younger than me. We grew up close despite the usual sibling rivalries. Our parents raised us to support each other, and for the most part we did until Steven came into the picture. Lisa met Steven at her workplace about a year ago. He's a 30-year-old marketing executive who swept her off her feet. I was happy for her when they got engaged after just 6 months of dating. Sure, it seemed fast to me, but Lisa was ecstatic, and our entire family welcomed Steven with open arms. I even made an effort to bond with him since he was going to become part of our family. That's where the trouble began, although I didn't realize it at the time. Steven and I discovered we had several common interests. We both loved hiking, played the same video games, and were fans of the same sports teams. We started hanging out occasionally, sometimes without Lisa. I thought nothing of it. I was just trying to welcome my future brother-in-law into the family. One evening, Steven called me, sounding upset. He asked if we could meet for a drink because he needed advice about something personal. I agreed, thinking it was about his relationship with Lisa or perhaps a surprise he was planning for her. When we met at a local bar, Steven confessed he was having doubts about the engagement. He felt things had moved too quickly with Lisa, and he wasn't sure they were truly compatible in the long run. He mentioned several arguments they'd had recently and asked for my perspective as her brother. I tried to be balanced in my response. I acknowledged that every relationship has challenges, but suggested that if he had serious doubts, he should have an honest conversation with Lisa before their wedding plans progressed further. I emphasized that I wanted both of them to be happy, whether that meant working through their issues or reconsidering their relationship. The conversation ended there, and I thought nothing more of it. Steven thanked me for listening and said he would think about what I said. 2 weeks later, Steven broke off the engagement with Lisa. I didn't know the details of their conversation, only that Lisa was devastated. I called her immediately when I heard the news, offering support and suggesting I come over with her favorite ice cream and movies, our typical sibling remedy for tough times. She refused my call. Then my phone lit up with a text. "I know what you did. Stay away from me." I was completely confused. I tried calling again, texting, even went to her apartment, but she wouldn't see me or explain what she meant. 3 days later, she showed up at my door, screaming accusations that I had deliberately sabotaged her relationship by telling Steven to leave her. "Lisa, that's not what happened at all." I tried to explain, inviting her inside to talk calmly. "Steven told me everything," she spat back. "How you told him I was controlling and that he could do better. How you've always been jealous of my relationships." I was stunned. "That's absolutely not what I said. Why would I do that to you? Because you've always wanted what I have. You couldn't stand to see me happy and getting married before you." Lisa was crying now, mascara streaming down her face. "Sandra was right about you all along. She always said you resented me." Sandra was Lisa's best friend since college, and she had never particularly liked me. I suspected she often stirred up drama between Lisa and me, but I kept that opinion to myself for Lisa's sake. "Lisa, please, can we sit down and talk about this rationally? Whatever Steven told you, he's twisted my words completely," I pleaded. "I don't want to hear your excuses. I've already told Mom and Dad what you did. They're as disgusted with you as I am." She turned and stormed out, slamming the door behind her. My heart sank. If she had already spoken to our parents, this situation was even worse than I thought. I immediately called our parents, hoping to explain my side before Lisa's version became firmly established in their minds. The call went to voicemail. I texted them asking to talk as soon as possible. No response. That night, my phone buzzed with notifications. I opened Facebook to find a long, public post from Lisa, detailing how her own brother had stolen her fiancé by convincing him to leave her. She didn't explicitly name me, but everyone in our circle knew exactly who she was referring to. Comments poured in, offering her sympathy and expressing shock at such a betrayal. I felt sick to my stomach. Not only was the accusation completely false, but she had now broadcast it to everyone we knew. I considered responding publicly but knew that would only escalate the situation. Instead, I closed the app and tried calling my parents again. This time, my mother answered, her voice cold and distant. "Matthew, I don't even know what to say to you right now. Your father and I raised you better than this." "Mom, please listen," I began. "What Lisa's saying isn't true. Stephen came to me for advice because he was having doubts. I didn't tell him to leave her. I just said he should be honest with her if he wasn't sure about the marriage." "That's not what he told Lisa," my mother replied. "He said you specifically advised him to break off the engagement because Lisa wasn't right for him. Why would he lie about that?" I was at a loss. Why indeed would Stephen lie? It didn't make sense. "I don't know, Mom, but I swear to you that's not what happened. Can I come over so we can talk about this face to face? Your father doesn't want to see you right now, and frankly, neither do I. We need some time to process this, Matthew." Her voice cracked slightly, and I could tell she was holding back tears. "How could you do this to your own sister?" The call ended, and I sat in stunned silence. My own parents believed I would deliberately hurt Lisa. The pain of that realization was almost unbearable. Over the next week, the situation deteriorated further. Extended family members started reaching out, not to hear my side, but to express their disappointment. Aunts, uncles, cousins, all seemed to accept Lisa's version without question. My cousin Edward, who I'd always been close with, was the only one who called asking for my perspective. "This doesn't sound like you, Matt," he said. "What really happened?" I explained the situation to Edward in detail, relieved that at least one family member was willing to listen. "Have you tried talking to Stephen about this?" Edward asked. "He's the only one who knows why he's lying." I hadn't. Part of me was so angry at Stephen that I couldn't trust myself to have a civil conversation with him. But Edward was right. I needed to understand why Stephen had fabricated this story. I decided to text Stephen first, asking to meet. His response surprised me. "I think that's a good idea. There's been a misunderstanding." We agreed to meet at a coffee shop the following day. I arrived early, my stomach in knots. When Stephen walked in, he looked uncomfortable, avoiding eye contact as he sat down across from me. "I need to understand why you told Lisa I advised you to leave her," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "You know that's not what happened." Stephen sighed heavily. "I didn't tell her that, not exactly. I told her I'd talk to you about having doubts, and that you'd suggested I be honest with her. But Lisa..." She got angry, accused me of discussing our relationship with her brother instead of coming to her first. She started putting words in my mouth, asking if you had suggested we break up. I didn't confirm it, but I didn't deny it either. I just wanted the conversation to be over. "So you let her believe I sabotaged your relationship?" I couldn't hide my anger now. "Do you realize what that's done to my family? My own parents barely speak to me." "I'm sorry, Matthew. I didn't think she'd react this way. I was just trying to make the breakup easier on myself." Stephen looked genuinely remorseful, but that did little to ease my frustration. "I didn't want to be the bad guy. So instead, you made me the bad guy? That's incredibly selfish, Stephen." "You're right," he admitted. "I was a coward. I should have been clearer with Lisa about why I was ending things." "You need to tell her the truth," I insisted. "Clear my name with my family." Stephen hesitated. "I tried calling her yesterday to clarify things, but she hung up on me. She doesn't want to talk to me either." "Then write her an email, send a text, whatever it takes. You created this mess. You need to fix it." He nodded slowly. "I will. I promise." I left our meeting feeling marginally better, but still skeptical that Stephen would follow through. I needed a backup plan. That evening, I called my girlfriend Nancy. We'd been dating for about 8 months, and she had witnessed the entire family drama unfold. Nancy had been my rock throughout this ordeal, never doubting my innocence for a second. "What did Stephen say?" she asked after I recounted our meeting. "He admitted he let Lisa believe her version of events because it was easier for him," I explained. "He promised to clear things up, but I'm not holding my breath." "What a jerk," Nancy said, her voice filled with indignation on my behalf. "Do you have any proof of what really happened during your conversation with him?" That's when it hit me. The night Stephen and I met at the bar, I had used my phone to split our tab using a payment app. I checked my message history in the app and found our conversation from that night. After paying, I had sent him a brief message. "Hang in there, man. Whatever you decide about Lisa, just be honest with her. That's all you can do." His reply, "Thanks for listening, Matt. You're right. I need to be honest with her about my feelings, even if it's hard." It wasn't a complete record of our conversation, but it contradicted the narrative that I had encouraged him to leave Lisa. It was something. I took screenshots and sent them to Nancy. "Do you think this helps?" "Absolutely," she said. "It shows you were encouraging honesty, not a breakup. We should share this with your parents at least." I wasn't sure how my parents would react, but it was worth a try. I forwarded the screenshots to them with a simple message. "This is the actual advice I gave Stephen. I would never intentionally hurt Lisa." The next morning, Stephen finally did the right thing. He sent a long text message to Lisa, with me copied, explaining that he had allowed her to misinterpret our conversation and that I had never suggested he end their relationship. He apologized to both of us for the confusion and pain he had caused. Lisa didn't respond to the group text, but my phone rang 10 minutes later. It was my mother. "Matthew, your father and I owe you an apology," she said, her voice filled with regret. "We should have given you the benefit of the doubt instead of jumping to conclusions." "Did you see Stephen's message?" I asked. "Yes, Lisa forwarded it to us. She's having a hard time accepting it. She still feels betrayed, but now she's directing most of her anger at Stephen." "And what about me, Mom? Does she still think I tried to ruin her relationship?" My mother hesitated. "She's confused right now. She built up this narrative in her mind, and with Sandra reinforcing it." She trailed off. "Sandra?" I asked, though I wasn't surprised to hear her name. "She's been very supportive of Lisa's version of events, almost encouraging her anger toward you. Your father and I have noticed it's not particularly helpful." That confirmed my suspicions about Sandra's influence. She had always seemed to enjoy when Lisa and I were at odds. "Will you and Dad come over for dinner this weekend?" I asked. "Nancy would love to see you both, and I think we all need some family time." "We'd like that," my mother said, her voice warmer than it had been in weeks. The dinner with my parents was a step toward healing, but Lisa remained distant. She had sent a brief text acknowledging Stephen's confession but stopped short of apologizing to me. "I need time," was all she wrote. While waiting for Lisa to come around, another issue emerged. The rumors about me being a sister-betraying fiancé stealer had spread throughout our social circle. I started noticing old friends becoming distant, acquaintances giving me cold looks at local spots, and even a few work colleagues treating me differently. Kevin, my best friend since high school, called me one evening. "Man, have you seen what Sandra's been posting about you online?" I hadn't been checking social media much since Lisa's initial post. "No, what now?" "She's basically doubling down on the story that you manipulated Stephen, saying he only sent that clarification text because you threatened him somehow. She's even hinting that you and Stephen had some kind of special relationship going on behind Lisa's back." "She's saying what?" I was stunned. This was escalating from misunderstanding to malicious slander. "That's completely fabricated." "I know that," Kevin assured me. "Anyone who really knows you knows it's garbage. But people love drama, and Sandra's serving it up. Lisa hasn't publicly contradicted her, which makes people think there's truth to it." This was getting out of hand. Sandra was now not only reinforcing Lisa's original misconception but adding new, even more damaging lies. And by staying silent, Lisa was allowing these rumors to flourish. "I need to talk to Lisa," I decided. This has gone far enough. Kevin agreed. Want me to come with you? As a neutral party. I appreciated the offer but knew this was something I needed to handle myself. Thanks, but I think this needs to be just between Lisa and me. I texted Lisa asking to meet. To my surprise, she agreed, suggesting a coffee shop the following afternoon. It was a public place, which probably made her feel safer, but it also meant we'd need to keep our conversation measured. When I arrived, Lisa was already there, sitting at a corner table with a mug clutched between her hands. She looked tired, with dark circles under her eyes and none of her usual carefully applied makeup. My heart ached for her despite everything. She was still my sister, and she was clearly suffering. Thanks for meeting me, I said, sliding into the seat across from her. Lisa nodded, not quite meeting my eyes. Stephen called me yesterday. He explained everything in more detail. I'm glad, I said cautiously. Then you understand I never tried to come between you two. I understand that you didn't explicitly tell him to leave me, she conceded. But Matt, you were meeting my fiancé behind my back, letting him confide in you about our relationship problems instead of encouraging him to talk to me directly. Don't you see how that hurt me? I took a deep breath. There was some truth to what she was saying, though her framing was still unfair. Lisa, he reached out to me. I thought I was helping both of you by being a sounding board. Maybe I should have encouraged him more strongly to discuss his concerns with you directly. And for that, I'm sorry. She seemed surprised by my apology, finally looking up at me. I overreacted, she admitted quietly. Sandra kept telling me you'd always been jealous of my relationships, that you couldn't stand to see me happy when your own love life was just stabilizing. I let her convince me of your worst intentions. Sandra has never liked me, I pointed out gently. And she's still spreading rumors about me, Lisa. Kevin told me what she's been saying online. Lisa winced. I know. I've seen it too. I've been avoiding my phone because I don't know what to say to her. She's been my friend for so long, and she's been so supportive through the breakup. Supportive by vilifying me? By making up completely false stories about me and Stephen? That's not being supportive, Lisa. That's using your pain to fuel her own agenda. Lisa's eyes welled with tears. You don't understand how hurt I was when Stephen left. I needed someone to blame. And I was an easy target, I finished for her. But Lisa, the damage to my reputation is real. People I've known for years now look at me like I'm some kind of monster. Mom and Dad were devastated. Even my work has been affected. My boss pulled me aside last week to ask if everything was okay because my personal drama was becoming noticeable. Lisa looked genuinely remorseful now. What do you want me to do? I want you to publicly clarify what happened. I want you to tell Sandra to stop spreading lies about me. And honestly, Lisa, I want an apology. Not just in private, but as public as your accusations were. She was quiet for a long moment. It's hard to admit being wrong so publicly. It's harder having your character assassinated by your own sister, I countered. Lisa flinched but nodded slowly. You're right. I'll make a post today setting the record straight. And I'll talk to Sandra. Thank you, I said, feeling a weight lifting slightly from my shoulders. I am sorry, Matt, she said, reaching across the table to squeeze my hand. I was hurt and lashed out without thinking. I should have trusted you more. True to her word, Lisa made a public post that evening explaining that she had misunderstood the situation and apologizing for the accusations she had made against me. She didn't go into details about Stephen's role or Sandra's influence, but she made it clear that I had not attempted to sabotage her relationship and that she regretted suggesting otherwise. The post received a mixed reaction. Many people expressed support for both of us, praising Lisa for her honesty and maturity in admitting her mistake. Others, particularly Sandra and her circle, were notably silent. A few seemed disappointed that the drama was concluding with reconciliation rather than continued conflict. Sandra, predictably, didn't take Lisa's reversal well. According to Lisa, when confronted about the rumors she'd been spreading, Sandra became defensive and accused Lisa of falling for my manipulation again. Their friendship fractured, perhaps irreparably. While I didn't celebrate their falling out, I couldn't help but think it might be healthier for Lisa in the long run. The following weeks brought a gradual return to normalcy. My parents invited both Lisa and me over for Sunday dinner, an attempt to rebuild our family bonds. It was awkward at first, with conversations carefully avoiding any mention of Stephen or recent events, but by dessert, we had fallen back into some of our old patterns. Lisa teasing me about my notorious sweet tooth, me reminding her of embarrassing childhood stories, our parents watching with relieved smiles. At work, the whispers subsided. Kevin organized a group outing with our mutual friends, making a point to include me and treat me normally, which helped reset the social dynamic. Nancy, who had stood by me unwaveringly throughout the ordeal, suggested we host a small gathering at our apartment, another step toward reclaiming my social life and reputation. 2 months after our coffee shop reconciliation, Lisa called me out of the blue. "Are you free for lunch tomorrow? There's someone I'd like you to meet." The someone turned out to be a therapist Lisa had started seeing to work through her feelings about the breakup and the subsequent family drama. She had asked if I would join her for a session to discuss how we could strengthen our relationship and prevent similar misunderstandings in the future. I was touched by the gesture and agreed immediately. The session was challenging but productive. We discussed our childhood dynamics, the subtle competitions that had characterized our relationship, and how external influences like Sandra had exploited those vulnerabilities. The therapist gave us tools for communicating more directly with each other and recognizing when our old patterns were emerging. As we left the therapist's office, Lisa linked her arm through mine, a gesture of affection she hadn't offered in months. "I'm really sorry about everything, Matt. I don't think I realized how much I've let other people's opinions influence how I see you." "We all make mistakes," I said, meaning it. "What matters is that we're fixing things now." "Stephen texted me last week," she mentioned casually as we walked to our cars. "He wanted to know if we could talk. How do you feel about that?" I asked carefully. "Not ready," she said firmly. "Maybe someday I'll want closure, but right now, I'm focusing on myself and on repairing the relationships that really matter." She squeezed my arm. "Like ours." That moment felt like a true turning point. The crisis had been painful for everyone involved, but it had ultimately led to a stronger, more honest relationship between Lisa and me. We had both learned valuable lessons about trust, communication, and the importance of not letting others drive a wedge between family members. Looking back on these difficult months, I wonder if I could have handled things differently from the beginning. Should I have declined to meet with Stephen when he wanted advice? Should I have immediately told Lisa about our conversation? Would either of those choices have prevented the cascade of misunderstandings and accusations? I'm still not sure. What I do know is that family relationships are complex and fragile, easily damaged by miscommunication and outside influences. But they can also be remarkably resilient when there's a foundation of love and a willingness to work through difficulties. The experience has changed how I approach all my relationships. I'm more direct now, less willing to let misunderstandings fester. Nancy tells me I'm a better communicator than I was before all this happened, and my parents have commented on my increased patience during family discussions. Even in my friendship with Kevin, I find myself more appreciative and expressive of what his support means to me. As for Lisa, we have lunch together every couple of weeks now, something we rarely made time for before. Sometimes we talk about serious topics, including her ongoing therapy insights, but often we just enjoy each other's company in a way we hadn't since childhood. There's a new understanding between us, a hard-won wisdom about the value of giving each other the benefit of the doubt. I'm curious, though, about what others would have done in my situation. Would you have handled things differently if your sibling had spread damaging lies about you? Was taking the high road and working toward reconciliation the right choice? Or should I have been more assertive in defending my reputation from the beginning? And how would you navigate rebuilding trust with family members who were so quick to believe the worst about you? Family conflicts can leave lasting scars, but they can also be opportunities for growth and deeper connection. In my case, a painful accusation ultimately led to a stronger relationship with my sister and a better understanding of myself. Perhaps that's the most valuable lesson of all, that even our most difficult trials can yield unexpected blessings if we approach them with patience, honesty, and a willingness to forgive.
Appreciate you watching. Give it a like, subscribe, and let's roll with more stories.